Plightcast number 13. I'm here solo with Cobalt, Carlson. No
Hey,
guest this time. Uh, I guess, taking it kind of laid back this episode. So,
yeah, yeah. Um, the old, the reason being because unfortunately, I moved all across, like almost all across the U.S. So I haven't been able to really do much, but still gonna be a good cast. So with that being said, so what have you been up to, Cobalt?
Normally I was thinking it wouldn't be that extravagant, but it turns out I've been seeing quite a few things actually. Of course, kicking off the week after our last one was, of course, Ruby. So I've been watching
mhm.
mostly of that for the last few weeks. Very happy with that being back.
Yeah.
And then following that, I believe I saw Guardians of the Galaxy, which was a fantastic movie. Probably one of my favorite ones so far.
Out of the Marvel movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess in a way that it's just a very fun, very laid back kind of movie that I can just sit back and enjoy type thing, which doesn't always happen for these kinds of movies, but I'm glad it was in this case.
Is it
And
enjoyable for someone who isn't like? Do they recognize that a lot of people wouldn't know the Guardians of the Galaxy?
I think it's almost a meta joke because a lot of the points in the movie you can tell where like even the in character, like even the actual characters don't seem to acknowledge them at times. So I think they're kind of joking about the whole fact that few people actually know these guys.
That's
I mean,
cool.
my only real reference for them is Rocket, and that was from a fighting game that hasn't had an update in over a few years because Marvel has some issues with it for some reason. Uh,
Mm.
and I think they also made a brief appearance in one of the Avengers cartoons at one point, so that's kind of my only reference for them. But yeah, I really enjoyed that. I saw it twice, once on opening week, and then once 2 weeks after. Um, I also saw. I guess what happened was that my sister got bored one day and decided to watch Madoka Magica. So I actually happened to watch a few episodes here and there.
Okay.
Um. Okay. I knew it would be deconstruction, but I didn't think they would like, literally go
Deconstruct.
meta on the whole thing. Because I mean, it's like when the witches show up, it's like, what am I watching?
It's kind of surreal.
But I know it's like it's an anime, and it's interesting. It's surreal. It's like, what am I watching? But at the same time, I thought they like Christina V did a fantastic job with Homura, so that was pretty neat. I think I saw like the first episode, some of the second, and then like bits and pieces of the other ones. Then they finally sat down and watched the last 3 episodes. So I
Okay, so
think
you saw the beginning and
yeah, I
then
saw the
the end.
beginning, some bits and pieces of the middle parts, and then the end. I'll have to go
Okay.
back and actually watch it properly now, but I do think the ending is kind of neat. How it's like Madoka just gives a complete middle finger to the I guess Kyubey
The
in
system.
some ways, because she's like, no, screw all this. I'm doing it my way. Screw you. It's like that was kind of a nice way to end it, I guess.
Did you get the twist with Homer?
What?
Did you get the twist with Homer? Was that one of the
Kinda.
episodes you saw?
What?
Was that one of the episodes you saw? It was towards the end.
Yeah,
There was a really big twist with her that I
it
really
was the whole
liked.
episode focusing on her, and I find this hilarious because like they spend like most of the stuff you'll see advertised in this show, it always shows Madoka herself in the outfit, and she never wears it until that episode where it's all stuff happening in different timelines. I'm going, wait, you're kidding me? This whole time that she's been having that outfit, it was during that only? What?
Yeah.
But anyway, so that was that. Let's see. I'm trying what else I saw. Oh yeah, and what was it? Do you guys have a store in the states, kind of like a giant tiger? It's hard to describe. It's kind of like this a place we can kind of buy like bargain stuff, like not cheap things, I guess. Hard to describe really. I wouldn't call it a liquidation place, but it's kind of like that, I guess.
Okay.
Is
And
this like a warehouse
anyways,
store
yes,
or?
yeah. I guess, and then they have like bargain bins, whatnot. So like one of them had these ones for like DVDs and games, whatnot. And in the DVDs, was looking through it, and I came across this Blu-ray for a Marvel animated movie called Doctor Strange Sorcerer Supreme. So I thought,
Hmm.
oh, and I've kind of heard of this guy. I guess I could check this out. And turns out it's kind of his origin story, I guess. And I guess it's kind of neat because as far as he's not your average, I guess, super character. I mean, you can't really call him a hero at first because he's a complete ass when he first starts off. But I thought it was a really neat change of how you usually perceive these like superhero characters, because you usually have like, these powers and all that. But this guy's like complete magic, so so I thought that was a really neat change up for how like you traditionally see them, and it was actually pretty well done. I had a bunch of different characters that I had no idea about, but it was still really neat to see. Um, I kind of find it funny how like he couldn't create stuff out of thin air. Just kind of concoct all these neat magic spells type thing. So that was really fascinating. And on the Blu-ray, there's also this, I guess, a featurette talking about like the whole origin, like of the comics and all that with Stan Lee and all that, talking about all the like how they created the character, where like they stemmed the I guess the origin of him. It's really neat, actually. I thought it was
Hmm.
really neat to kind of to see how they did this, and just like for such a character you don't really hear much of often in different works, I guess.
It sounds like the sort of movie that could be enjoyed even if you don't really have a much of a background,
Yeah,
just
exactly. It was,
characters.
yeah,
And that's the
and
mark of a really good movie, if you ask me.
it was okay. I mean, I guess in some, like the the big gripes I had was that how should I put this? It was like these a lot of really obvious CGI elements to it, which kind of made me go, "Oh God, it's one of these things." And okay,
Is it mostly 2D though?
yeah, it's definitely you can tell it's like this standard animated stuff. One thing that was kind of weird was that like I don't know what happened, but in one of the last scenes of the movie, I guess after the big action thing happens, is there's this like you can see the ground, and I can tell how like you know how in some games you can see the texture and it looks really muddy and all that. It looks like that. I'm like, oh, this is what the hell happened there? But that was about it. And aren't they making a movie? Apparently, they're making a live action movie of him in 2016, right?
That's what I heard. I don't know for sure.
It'd be great if they did, because that'd be really neat to see that in live action, honestly.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to think of anything else I saw. Oh yeah, and I also saw another episode of Iron Man Armored Adventures because I was sick as a dog on Thursday, and I was kind of bedridden, so I thought, hey, Netflix, pop up an episode to watch, and it happened to be the episode called Extremis. So it was about where I guess
Oh yeah,
this
yeah.
runaway guy has the serum of it and injects himself, and I'm gonna and having seen this version, I can kind of see why people were a bit iffy with Iron Man 3 now, because the way they portrayed Extremis in that movie was okay, but parts of it, now that I think about parts, it made me go, ah, okay, that's how it's supposed to be. Because I guess Iron Man 3, Tony has microchips in his arm that used to control the armor, while in the episode, he takes like a modified version of the Extremis, injects himself with it, and he can control the armor with his mind. I'm like, isn't that what they should have done in the movie?
Yeah.
That's
I
kind
don't
of
know. I kind of forget that was supposed to be extremist in the
yeah,
movie.
because I remember when the first Iron Man movie was released on DVD, it had a whole bonus feature stuff, and it talked about like a lot of different comic stuff related to it, and one of them mentioned Extremis, and it talked about how that whole worked. And I was kind of expecting to see that in the movie, but I didn't, so I was really confused for a second there. I was going, okay, I know this is kind of how it works, but why isn't Tony using it? Why isn't he having it? I'm really confused here. That's kind of what threw me for a loop, but at least the episode kind of put it straight. And the guy's powers looked nothing like the movie. It looked more like Cole from Infamous.
Hmm.
Like
Who's the villain?
it was kind of an ex-Shield agent that kind of got like that was I guess dismissed for kind of being a bit crazy, I guess, or something. I don't remember the
Okay.
specifics of it, but yeah. It was kind of neat because of how the serum worked and all that. But yeah, just trying to remember if I've seen anything else. No, that's about it. I'd say yeah. All right,
Well, we all know what you really want to talk about.
I'm saving that. Don't worry. Trust me, I'm gonna go on and on about that. So I'm just trying to save it for that.
Okay, okay. So I guess I'll go next unless Solo has anything pressing.
Nope.
Okay, so yeah, I did not really watch anime for arguably the last 2 to 3 weeks because of moving. The only anime that I watched was of note was actually the Kill la Kill dub, the first 3 episodes that they were showing, and it was really really good actually. I'll talk about this a little bit more about Otakon in general, but I watched at Otakon, and honestly, I know people are skeptical about it, but it's better in motion. Like, it sounds a lot better. Everybody sounds more natural. I just think that Aniplex sucks at cutting promos. That's what it came off to me as. Because if you listen to it, you get you get a better sense of how they are, how they're acting, and it just handles a lot better. So there was that. But
Yeah, I've seen the first episode on I forget what site I saw it on, but yeah, I watched myself, and I thought it was pretty good.
yeah, yeah, it was very good and very well handled. Then one thing that actually I did do was I almost caught up to Korra, like finally, right after arguably almost a summer of like putting it off. I caught up to almost all of it. I stopped at episode 10 because
Oh
I
man,
had to go do stuff. So
God, you're killing me.
I know, I know. I've already heard about a spoiler anyway, kinda, sorta. But wow. The only thing I have to say about Korra is that Korra's a lot better when it stops focusing on like romance and starts focusing on actually like storyline, plot line, actually trying to do stuff. Like,
They actually figured out how to write the damn thing now.
well, I feel like now they do because now they realize that like nobody really cares about the relationships anymore. Like, nobody. I mean, what like okay, between the whole entire team Avatar, who's going to hook up with who now? Bolin with Korra? No, no. Like, nobody cares. I think after knowing that nobody cares after 2 seasons and finally coming to the realization that what is it, that they can now go do more world building, world exploring, stuff like that, it really came off better. Honestly, I think that if they would have knew what they did in the first season, like now they would have tested out relationship stuff like that. But for the most part, it would have. I think the first 2 seasons would have went a lot smoother. But besides that, I caught up on Korra and oh wow. I
Man,
think. Go ahead.
11 is so good.
I know. I
When
know.
you said 10, I was like, how far did you get?
I
Oh,
know.
so close yet so far.
I know. I know. What's gonna happen is I'm gonna go watch it afterwards, and then I'm gonna be like, wow, I really should just push for the last 2 episodes. My sister decided to flip it to Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and I'm honestly gonna go back and watch that as a marathon. I have to go back and watch that because it's really really good for an animation series, especially for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So,
The new Nickelodeon one.
oh yeah, the new Nickelodeon
Yeah,
one.
I have to finish watching season one also. I'm still really impressed with how well they handled that.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm hoping that what is it, that I will be able to actually contribute contribute a little bit more to my insight about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles when I get done with that. But yeah, I mean, I saw Guardians of the Galaxy. I thought it was good, but it could have been better. I think the bigger problem was that watching Guardians of the Galaxy, as I read from like one person, it's really really interesting to try to see how I think it's Tim Gunn or is it
I think it's Jim Gunn. No, I know
Jim Gunn. Yeah, yeah. But it's interesting to see Gunn try to break out of the Marvel movie universe bubble with the movie. And it's true. There are certain parts where it's good until until they try to get out of it, and and it feels like what happens is that okay, we're gonna try to do a little bit more with this series, right? And then it's like you see the Marvel directors literally just standing behind the director and say, "Okay, by the way, no, that's not the formula that works with us. So go back to the formula that was working." And it's like, "Oh man," but I mean, I had fun. I thought it was okay. Um, uh, Besides that, I really didn't watch all that much. So
That's a healthy amount of activity.
yeah, yeah, that's what happens when you pack, and like your whole entire concept is packing. But yeah.
Well, for me, I watched a lot of stuff because anime is all I have time for over the summer. Um, but let's see, what do I want to talk about? I watched a bunch of so-called plot shows. um, because I wanted to give the genre a fair shake. Because like it's easy to dismiss those shows, but like in truth, the only one that I've ever actually seen is Queen's Blade. So I wanted to give the genre a fair shake. And so among those, I watched Sekide. That was
Okay.
okay, kind of entertaining. Um, and I watched Yushibu. What's the full name? I couldn't become a hero, so I reluctantly decided to get a job. Is what it's called.
That's the actual title.
Yep, that's the full title.
What?
Yeah. Don't make me recite the Japanese one. Um, but it was a good show. It's a comedy show. It's about basically this. It takes place in this world where I guess it's kind of a fantasy type world where being a hero is like a business or a career. And it's a career that involves trying to take out the demon lord. Um, and so the hero, the protagonist of the story, he's taking an exam to become a hero, so that he can try and defeat the demon lord, uh, and attain glory and all that. But right as he's like about to graduate, the demon lord is defeated by someone else. So now all the heroes are just out of work, um, including him. So instead, he gets a job as a cash, wait, was it a general store employee. He works the cash register. Uh, and so he's kind of just doing this job. He's not really that happy with it. Uh, but one day, this girl comes in and applies to work there. And one thing leads to another, and he finds out that she is the daughter of the demon lord who was defeated.
Hmm.
Um, so they hire her on, but that leads to shenanigans because she's very naive. Like she's lived in the demon world all this time, and so she has a very different perception of what life is like as compared to what we as humans think life is like.
Yeah.
Um, and they use that contrast to uh, kind of reference the RPG genre a lot in a hilarious way. Like one of the things she's really enthusiastic about her job, and so one of the things she tries to do to make the store more attractive to customers is she sets a treasure chest. She orders a gigantic treasure chest, and she wants to decorate the front of the store by placing this treasure chest out there. But it's a mimic treasure chest.
Oh no.
It's one of those things where you open it and this giant hand comes out and grabs you and tries to pull you in. And she's like, "This is great. People would love this." Because that's how it is in the demon world. Or like she tries to dig out a pond that's full of poison gas or whatever, because that's real attractive.
I
to
mean,
her.
sure, it's a demon world, but they got a lot bigger resistances down there.
Or like man-eating plants. Oh yeah, we're gonna plant a garden in the storefront. That'll make it look real pretty. We're gonna
Yeah,
put
don't step
man-eating
on
plants
ours.
there. It's great. Um, yeah, that show was pretty good. Um, and I also watched Yosuga no Sora, but I'm not gonna talk about that. 'Cause that was a really naughty show. But, and I decided to revisit F, A Tale of Memories. Um, that's a show that I've watched before, a long, long time ago. The last time I talked about it on this podcast, I felt like I was kind of confused about, like I had a tough time remembering how it compared to the visual novel, and revisiting it, I realized why. It's they they having read the visual novel since after watching the show, and now coming back and watching the show,
Hmm.
they the way they adapted it was really interesting. It's been really fascinating revisiting the adaptation after having read the source material.
Okay.
Um, I guess so. F, the visual novel, it's split into two parts. You have F, the first tale, and F, the latter tale.
Hmm.
Um, and broadly speaking, the visual novel is about these two people, Yuko and Yu. And at the beginning of the visual novel, these two people they're meeting up for the first time in a very long time. They haven't seen each other in a while. Um, and so they're chatting, and it comes up the question comes up like, what have you been up to over the past few months, or just recently?
Hmm.
And as they're catching up, they talk about the people that they've impacted uh, over the years. Um, and so the way it's structured into two parts, because the first part is Yuko telling her stories, and then the second part is Yu telling his stories about the people that they've impacted. Um, and so you would expect, because F has two seasons, you have a Tale of Memories and then a Tale of Melodies. You'd expect that you would have Yuko's stories being told for memories, and then Yu's stories being told for melodies. Uh,
Hmm.
that's not the case. Um, they have both of Yuko's stories for memories, and then they also have one of Yu's stories for memories as well, which makes me really curious to see what melodies covers. Uh, but I haven't seen melodies at all, so I don't have anything to say about that. But it's really interesting the way that they handle that. Um, because now they have three stories, three routes that they're adapting in a one season show. This is 12 episodes, and they're juggling three stories.
Okay.
Um, so they have there's two of Yuko's stories, which is Miyako's route and Kei's route, and then there's another girl who would normally be handled by Yu, uh, whose name is Chihiro. Um, and they did something that was kind of surprising to me. It took me a few episodes to realize it, which is that they changed the chronology of the routes. Normally, they happen in the visual novel. The stories happen one after the other, chronologically speaking. Um, so, like, you have Miyako's route, and then a couple months later, Kei's route occurs, and then Chihiro's and such. But in the anime, they all happen simultaneously, chronologically speaking, or
Okay.
almost simultaneously, I should say. Kei's
Mhm.
route starts a little bit after Miyako's, um, and that was. I think what that allowed them to do is for one thing, it made it a lot easier for them to have all three of those stories uh, in one season. But it allowed them to write all three stories as almost like one. Like they're all gathered together and more tightly connected.
Yeah.
Um, and I felt all three of the stories were improved as a result. Like I am actually of the opinion that Miyako's and Kei's stories are better in the anime than they were in the visual novel.
Okay.
Uh, so yeah, they did an excellent job adapting it. Um, but yeah, it's a fantastic show. Uh,
Okay.
I, I'm not sure I did a great job explaining it, but that's kind of the gist of it.
I
It's a
got it.
really it's a really cool anime.
As long as you say it's a good adaptation, that's all I need to hear.
Yeah, like it's not even a good adaptation. It's some in terms of some stories, like it's literally they tell the story better than the source did.
Oh
Oh,
wow,
okay. That's
that's good to
good.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like both Miyako's and Kei's stories are kind of ho hum in the visual novel. Like you're kind of just going through them so you can get the Chihiro story, which is and Yuko's story.
Yeah.
But in the anime, they're actually really interesting. There are some twists that happen in the anime that do not happen in the visual novel. Period, and they make
Okay.
both stories way more interesting.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah. But yeah, that was the main one that I wanted to talk about. I also have been watching Korra and Ruby. Um, and I for Korra, I have like I said this last episode, but season 3 has been really strong. Maybe the strongest out of the three overall. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, I mentioned on the forums, but episode 11, I have been waiting the entire franchise for episode 11 to happen. Basically, I won't go into it, but I that's probably my favorite piece of media in the entire franchise. I loved it.
Okay. Okay.
Any
Now
particular
that's something to
reasons?
wait for.
Like I don't want to overhype it, but that's how it was for me.
Any
I
particular reason?
literally like I was like yelling when certain parts started happening at my screen because that's how excited it was. But yeah, it's real good. I have some problems with the antagonists, but if nothing else, I really like the threat that they represent, that they're able to represent to the protagonists.
That's usually a
Uh,
good thing, though. Having a decent threat to overcome, it means they'll have to actually legitimately try to do something different to overcome it, which is usually where the fun stuff begins.
yeah, and these guys, like when you consider the fact that last season had them basically overcoming a god, the fact that like, these guys they're just mortal benders. They're just really good at it.
Yeah.
But they feel like the most threatening antagonist the series has had so far. That's really
That's actually
remarkable.
yeah, that's actually really good. So, um, I will have to say, like, I think I okay, so unlike like with season one, where like you knew that Amon could have been a two seasoner, but really was a one seasoner and just kind of messed up, or season two where like Unalak was okay and then Vatu was okay, but you know I wouldn't say the threat level ever escalated, but it was always like ridiculously high. It's good to be able to see like a progressing threat level that's been occurring so far. Like you see these you see the can I spoil this?
Sure.
Well, okay, I'll spoil the group, but so it's interesting to see the Red Lotus actually like escalate as they keep on getting as they keep on getting further and further. Like they're not just we're Uber tier villains. They're like okay, they're somewhat villains, and then as you kept on going, they kind of escalated, and you kind of see why they were pretty much suppressed. You know.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, as I don't, I'm still kind of waiting to learn more about their plot before I buy it completely. But just their capabilities, their ability to press the protagonist is something I really respect. Because when you think about it, I don't even know if I want to say this. There was until episode 10, there have been no benders portrayed so far that have been able to really go toe to toe with them. Um,
Hmm.
the only one who didn't just get curb stomped was Kaya. Um, and we're talking like these are master level benders that they're going up against often. Like you would expect all the White Lotus to be pretty skilled, right?
Yeah.
But like they just curb stomped them. Like the Dai Li, for example, they're nothing. I don't
I
know.
would not
It's
give them much credit, honestly.
Well, the thing about that Daily is that they're 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 good at being like elite guards, right? Where they're all secretive and stuff like that. Kind of like the I would say like the ninja ops, not necessarily like the Anbu for Naruto, but kind of sort of like in the fact that they're decently good. They're able to suppress a threat, and as long as they're in large numbers, they can take down something. But if you separate them, or you have somebody who's like really really good, they're not that intimidating.
They're better as a team than an actual solo group, I guess.
Yeah, yeah. But as you were
that's
saying,
yeah, that's fair. Um, yeah, I I have mixed feelings about them. On one hand, I really really like them, but on the other hand, they're so weird. Every single one of them has like some quibble that I don't like that I don't like about them. Uh,
It's kind of a
like I
different.
don't.
It's kind of a different aside. What do you guys think of it, like going from like airing on TV to now being fully online?
you
It
know
seems to
what?
have had a noticeable effect on the tone of the show. I'll say that much.
Well, I mean, I feel like they planned it. Well, apparently, from what they said at Comic Con, they were actually expecting it to be an online TV series. Which,
Oh,
yeah, yes, I don't know. That might have been a rumor, but they were kind of expecting for it, and then they're like, no, we're gonna put it on TV still. But I won't lie. I think it's for the best. I think that now, if it's possible, it's easy for them to market it a lot easier. I'm hoping that they can actually start doing more marketing instead of just saying, well, whatever. I mean, it's kind of depressing just how I like to how like market how much marketing they did, which is to say not at all. Especially for a third season IP, I kind of would have thought they would have done a lot better with that. But I'm kind of glad. I mean, now I get to actually see all the episodes and marathon them, and not have to worry about them being pulled off for the time being.
Did they put all of season 3 up there yet?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay,
yeah. All of
just the
it is
latest
on there.
ones.
It's not just the latest, like the whole entire season three. So
Okay, cool.
yeah, which made it awesome because that's what I was waiting for because I couldn't watch it back in my time zone because it was 2 hours I was 2 hours behind, and so watching it at the East Coast time, I had to plan it out, and I was still like working at that time, so I couldn't like stop work for animation series, especially that's kind of more plot heavy and not necessarily just a throwaway. But
Hmm.
yeah, yeah, I'm glad for it. What about you?
Are you talking to me?
Yeah, yeah. Sorry, Solo. What about you?
Uh, I mean, I think it's pretty good to be honest. It was a good move. I mean, it doesn't seem like they were doing that great on TV, so it doesn't seem like they like them being online really makes much of a difference. The people who want to watch it are gonna watch it either way. Um, at this point, um, and it seems like I said, it seems like they've uh like the show has taken like they've taken more liberties as a result of being online. Like, do you think what happens in 10 would have happened on television?
Um, I'm not sure. That's where I kind of stopped, but I assume it would have been. Like, let's be honest. Remember, they showed a quote unquote double suicide, um, or double homicide on season one. So, I don't know. I have to see the episode, but I think that they would have, or if they did, they would have edited it out somehow.
Yeah, I mean they might have changed it somewhat. I don't know. That's a pretty that's a way to go.
Yeah.
um, But yeah, and 11 in some ways is even worse in that regard, which is also why I don't like episode 11, and also why I love episode 11. But
It's a love-hate type thing.
it's just the ending.
Oh, oh
Yeah.
right. It's like you want to love it because of it's apparently really good, but you also want to hate it because there's a few things you're like, ah, crap, not this.
Yeah, I can't really explain it without spoiling it, but yeah, I that ending really got me.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, it's good. It's it's something, all right. Um, but yeah, just that's mainly it for me. I think so.
Okay. Okay. So, with that being said, so we talked about this earlier, but let's get into more depth about Guardians of the Galaxy. I kind of want to hear about why, like, what stood out for you in terms of the movie.
I haven't
Um,
seen it, so I'll just listen.
well, I wanted to see it just because it was a different change of pace and because it looked like a fun movie in general. Ever since I saw the first preview, I thought this looks like fun. And honestly, I just want to see it because of Rocket. Because I mean, he's probably the only character I knew from it, and it looked like a fun idea to see in practice. And he ended up being one of the best characters of the whole movie, honestly. So
Oh God,
I consistently hear that.
yeah.
I mean, like most of his lines were some of the best like parts of the movie, honestly.
I'm sorry. The what was it? The leg gag.
Oh god, that was brilliant. Although, even before that, like they're talking about the whole plan, and then you see Groot in the background, and he kind of going, "Okay, no one's telling you anything about this." Just
Yeah.
some of the scenes they had were just hilariously well put together, and I'm actually just pretty impressed with how well like Rocket and Peter Quill play off each other. That was one of the best parts of it.
Yeah. Yeah. I think the chemistry of it, especially the way that they set it up, was very accessible and it was just overall fun. It was very fun.
Exactly. I mean, people are complaining about the villains, but then again, I guess in a way it's kind of just a means to an end, and in some cases, I
Well,
guess we can kind of accept that the villain's kind of not really that great, but whatever.
but like I think somebody said it on Twitter was that I've never seen like a movie where like the villains pretty much made the movie grind to a halt, and I kind of agree because it's like when I think about it, right? Like all the scenes almost with the villains were just like, they
Like,
weren't.
unless Thanos was actually there, it wasn't really that great.
Yeah, yeah,
You
it
can
was.
tell, you can even tell Thanos was kind of annoyed by the actual villain of this movie.
Yeah, like I think that's the depressing part about it. It's like normally the villain is interesting to see his motive, but it's just like we don't care about you. We care about the guy you're talking to, but we don't care about you. So I think that's the major issue that I had. Well, one of the major issues, just the fact that the villain was just, I mean, not really memorable and not really even something to write home about.
I think he's also only there just to kind of call them the Guardians of the Galaxy in the first place, too.
Yeah, yeah, I
Who
agree.
is the bad guy? Like, what is he? I don't know anything. I didn't even know it had an antagonist.
I know it's funny because I remember hearing the name. I'm like, okay, why is that name sound so familiar? So I'm thinking, wait a minute. So I type in for like Avengers, Earth's Mightiest Heroes to see if maybe if he appeared in it. It turns out he did. So I'm like, oh, this guy. Okay.
What's
Yeah,
his name?
His name is Ronan the Accuser. In the show for Avengers, he appears kind of to just talk about like what the Kree Empire is gonna be doing to Earth, and if they like surrender, I guess they'll be part of it, the Empire. I guess some weird thing like that. So the Avengers kind of have to stop him, even though there's another conflict between the Kree and the Skrull going on at the same time. It's just really complicated, but case in point, like that's who the character is, and they didn't really do. They didn't seem to do a very good job of getting that through in this movie. But oh well.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I, I, it's just kind of, I don't know. It's just kind of like I want to say, kind of a downer that Ronan the Accuser really wasn't that that interesting at all. So that's something. It was. I mean, I enjoy Karen Gillan like acting, but then I watch Doctor Who, so that's
Yeah, I think it's probably what most people are know her from, so it really
yeah,
helped.
yeah. But she was pretty decent in that. Everybody else was pretty decent. I just think that the script and the direction could have been better if they would have been given more liberty,
Yeah, I
and
think so
I,
too.
and I think that's the biggest issue that I had.
I have to say, it's a surprise. Drax ended up being one of the funnier characters. I wasn't expecting that at all. Just the fact
I
that he was completely literal made it even better.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I agree. I think I I was expecting him to be more of like the serious guy, but it's like he's serious, but the fact that he's so literal is
He's
it
unintentionally funny.
yeah, he's unintentionally funny. So it was just enjoyable that I was able to do that. I was able to see like I well, how do you explain this? It's awesome to know that we had a straight man for for a lot of the jokes. So that uh
And I find it funny that like the only sane man is Rocket, which is kind of funny because he's like a raccoon and he doesn't acknowledge that for some reason.
yeah.
It's also funnier because like when he's with Groot, he like how he describes Groot. His speech patterns are limited to I and am and Groot, exclusively in that order, and yet he's still able to kind of translate what he's saying, which I thought was which I kind of expected to happen.
Yeah. Yeah. I wonder if Groot really is saying all these things, or if he's just like, or if he's kind of like in just like his happy place, and when somebody interrupts it, that's when he starts getting all like I don't want to say philosophical, but like talking and stuff like that.
I did some kind of informative reading before this movie, and I found out that apparently Groot's actually one of the more intelligent characters in the series.
Oh,
Like,
okay.
like apparently, what was it? They had I forget his character, but some telepath character to read his mind, and he's actually like he's really wordy. Like in his mind, he's saying a lot, but he can only express it as "I am Groot," which is
That sounds unfortunate.
Yeah.
what was it? It's actually did you stay to see the Howard the Duck scene at the very end after the credits?
Oh God, I remember seeing that. I was like, oh, okay. I guess he's gonna get his own movie or TV series now.
I thought it was kind of funny that of all the characters to kind of throw in there, that it was him. I didn't even know who he was until my parents kind of showed me because my whole family went to see the movie. They're like, "Oh yeah, we know who he is." Like, "Oh wait, what?"
Yeah, yeah. Like he's like, what is it? I want to say he's an 80. He had an 80s movie that was completely horrible, but the comics that he featured in and other things was pretty popular, or at least cult
Huh.
classic popular.
Very interesting.
Yeah, yeah, that's why like I knew of him because I kind of read into the Marvel universe. I kind of remember him sticking out because of the movie and because you if you watch the VH1 series I Love the 80s, I remember him from that. I think
Oh
this was
really? Cool.
yeah, yeah, they did something. I think it was an I Love the 80s Strikes Back. That's when they were talking about what is it? They talked about the actual content about that. So yeah. That was interesting.
I also think it's kind of neat that like most of the movie features random '80s music,
Yeah.
and at the end you get like another volume of it, which I thought was kind of neat.
Yeah, yeah. I thought the heartwarming scenes were really touching.
Oh
Though
yeah.
though I think there's just one part of the plot line that I kind of was annoyed at because it felt like a throwaway,
Which
but
was
it was the revelation of what is it? Oh gosh, I know.
the Infinity Gem, or
No, not the. Well, there's the Infinity. Well, the Infinity Gem really isn't the issue. Oh gosh, I think of him as Star Lord, but I forget the name that he goes by. The human name that he
oh,
goes by.
Peter Quill.
Yeah, Peter Quill. When they reveal about his mom and dad, and it's just like, oh, that's slightly convenient, you know. I was like, oh, that. I mean, I'm okay with that, but it's like, it's just kind of weird that it was slightly convenient that that whole entire setup like occurred. But
But I decided to, because I was curious about that too, so I decided to like read up about it. And Peter actually has two different origin stories. One of which that's actually kind of messed up. Another one that's more in line with what the movie showed.
okay,
So like, I
Are
read
they
that when
both
Wikipedia figured that out, and I'm like, oh, okay, so that was kind of weird. And then the other one's like, okay, that makes more sense.
are both of the stories in the comics?
I think that yeah, there's like because apparently there's two runs of the comic from what I found out about. One of them was a lot like one of them was really early and had like none of the characters we know of now, and this one's kind of based on the more recent version of Guardians of the Galaxy, I guess.
Hmm, I see. So he's the Joker then?
What?
No, never mind.
sorry. Well, no. I mean, I understand where you're coming from with saying that, but yeah. I've come to realize that with some of the comics, when they try to do a full reboot, that's when they decide, okay, we're gonna go with this completely different origin story, and then you kind of have to finagle away what you kind of knew and hope that one's gonna be considered the main canon when the other one's kind of disregarded.
Yeah, that's kind of an off one too, because then people are used to it being a certain way, and then you change it, and they go, I can't follow this anymore.
Yeah, yeah.
I actually was kind of surprised at how dark Rocket's backstory was.
Yeah, that's true.
I wasn't expecting that. I'm like, okay, he's just a raccoon that can talk. And then I find out, and it's like, oh, that was not what I was expecting.
Yeah,
Something
yeah,
bad from.
yeah. I agree. I mean, it kind of works out though, right? It kind of justifies why Rocket is the way he is and his
Yeah,
cynicism. But I do agree. It was pretty dark considering the tone of the movie.
there were a few moments like that, but they were usually offset at the right times.
Yeah, yeah. But that's, I guess, any parting thoughts on Guardians of the Galaxy?
Hopefully the sequel, hopefully they make something related to with Nova with them, because that'd be kind of neat to actually see that character finally in this. Because they had the Nova Corps in this, but we didn't actually get to see the actual character called Nova.
Okay, okay. I guess for me, I would say that it's a good movie. Definitely go watch it. I hope that the second movie they make things a little bit more interesting with the villain, and I'm hoping that they will get that the director will get more flexibility, being able to do what he wants to do with Guardians of the Galaxy. Because if he does, I think we'll get a better and more enjoyable movie. So that's just me speaking, but hopefully we'll see that. So with that being said, one thing that has been on the tips of Cole Baltios's tongue, but he kind of held back was with Ruby. So have you been catching up on that solo?
Solo. Oh,
Yep, there we go.
okay.
So yeah, I have been catching up on it.
Okay, so let's get into Ruby then. So yeah, second season's been going very well so far.
Yeah, I'd say. Oh, have you been watching it too?
Yeah. I actually I held that back because Cobalt was I kind of agreed with like holding back that up, but yeah, I've actually watched like I think the first 2 episodes. I attempted to watch the third one when I was coming back from Otakon, but that didn't work out so well. But yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'm enjoying it. I was under the impression they were going to start with the tournament because they keep hinting at it, but it hasn't happened yet. So
It's gonna be later. I think
yeah,
it's gonna happen. Because what I think they're setting this up is in because the first 4 episodes was kind of centered around dealing with one circumstance. I think now that there's like 8 episodes left, they'll have that time to work with it. Because there's still some big stuff that's gonna happen.
well,
And,
I'm a little concerned because they decided to start doing a broader plot, of like introducing
well,
antagonists and such.
yeah, but we kind of got that hinted. Like we already knew there was gonna be antagonists, but like I find the first volume was mostly just kind of get the whole just kind of get everything introduced because the trailers were only there for the characters. Now we're actually gonna introduce them properly as well as the whole school and that kind of stuff. Get out all set up, and then once everyone's kind of familiar with everything, then we can go straight into all the deep stuff. And boy, did they
Yeah,
ever!
yeah. I mean that's fine. I'm glad that they're starting to branch out because I was expecting that to happen after the first season.
Yeah,
It's
that's
just it's just that they have now that they have this tournament looming. That's a detour that they'll have to take from the
well,
main plot.
well, they could just be like Naruto, where it's like, hey, look toward it. Oh, by the way, new different
Well, now
plot.
that did you watched episodes 1 and 2, right, Kerry Elson?
Yeah.
So I'm trying to think here. Yeah, you saw what happened at the end of episode 2, right?
Yeah.
So there's a good chance something will happen somewhere during the tournament that will kind of bridge between what's happening, what just happened recently, and what's going to happen soon.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, for me, I'm actually like there's a lot to talk about, but I think I'll start off by saying my expectations when I jumped into this were, I guess, okay considering what I saw in the trailer. But I will say the pacing is way better. The animations in general have definitely stepped up a lot, which is pretty impressive. And I can tell that they're trying to get now that they've are at 10 minutes per episode, like consistently, they can do a lot more in a span of time than they could before. And
Yeah,
then they
4
went
was
to
pretty good for that.
oh, 4 was fantastic. I dare say that's even better than episode 8 from last season.
That's probably the longest episode they've had
It
so far
was.
too, wasn't
I
it?
was
Yeah.
thinking like, oh shit, 16 minutes. Good God. But yeah, so much happened in that episode. I don't know if I could probably spend like half that time was talking about it. But I was kind of surprised that about the outfit change because the trailer indicated it would be happening, but then it happened anyway. So Monty trolled all of us. It's like, oh, but there's no outfits for these characters. Oh, sorry. Oh, God damn you.
Did you see the new outfits, Carlson? Have they switched outfits by
That's
episode
uh,
2?
3. He hasn't gotten that far yet, I don't think.
no, they haven't switched outfits yet. They're in the process of like just anything but yeah.
Huh. Um,
In terms of characters being changed, like the personalities being changed, I thought it was really strange how Yang is a geek of all things. I'm like, they're playing a cardboard game, and she's talking Weiss about how to play it. I'm like, wait, she's a geek?
I don't
Who paid
know.
for that?
I kind of.
it
I'm
could
not
be
gonna
she
lie.
was just having fun.
Yeah,
That's
like
You
there's.
seem to know a lot about the card game. I'm like, what the heck?
I mean, I guess the best way I look at it is that it kind of makes sense in that she seems to be the person that could enjoy like a good game if it's presented to her and not
Sure.
necessarily just like anything. Like if you say, "Oh, are you into board games?" and she like goes into this whole detail about mechanics and stuff like that, that's what I would freak out. But this seems to be like only this particular game that she's really really interested into.
Yeah, that makes a lot more sense. I also thought it was kind of neat how I find it interesting how Weiss's personality is shifting from like less of a colder individual, no pun intended, to more of trying to be more with her teammates type thing.
Well, I mean, that is to be expected because Ruby kind of everybody forces the issue one way or another, like Blake or Ruby or Yang. Like even the side characters force that a bit.
And
So
Well, it's
speaking of
interesting because suddenly Weiss is the one promoting teamwork and like sticking together and such. Like when she gets on Blake.
yeah,
it's hilarious.
yeah.
She just stay in the chair like, wait, what? Is that just an anime effect? They actually did that? Oh god.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's. I mean, I think you know how people say, you know what, I have to tolerate you, so I have to at least protect you for my own selfish interest. I think she's on that level right now. Not
Right.
necessarily like, oh my god, you guys are really my friends and I love you all. I'm gonna miss you all. You know, not at that level, not at that level yet.
Well, I'd say Weiss and Ruby had a bit of a moment in the library.
Stop it! Don't hold me. Shut up.
Oh god, yeah, yeah. I mean, they kind of did. Well, we'll see. We'll see if that. Well, I think it will, but we'll see if it translates to something more than just don't touch me to you know.
So now for some new characters, because we had quite a bit introduced in this series already, such as Emerald, for her last name, but oh yeah, Emerald, Sustai, Mercury, Black her was, and spoilers for later on, Neo, or whatever her name is.
Yeah.
So we have a bunch of new characters to be to added. Oh yeah, and Neptune for his last name, but yeah, we also have those characters.
They have a lot of antagonists for this show.
Oh god, it's when you thought it's like yeah, they just have Roman, Emerald, Mercury, and Cinder. Oh no, there's more characters, and it's like, oh shit.
It seems it's like they're not. It seems like they're not done introducing them either. Like there's just a horde of them. It seems like.
And then we find out Weiss has a sister in episode 3, whose name is Winter. So that was kind of a big
I
Didn't
thought
see
that
that
was a
coming.
little on the nose.
But oh god, oh, yeah, the food fight was hysterical. It was fun and just hysterical at the same time.
Yeah, Yang using turkeys. That was pretty good.
And
Turkeys and the what was it? The hot dog whip.
oh god,
Yeah.
Pyrrha using her semblance to mimic Magneto and then launch all the soda cans, which then made me confused for a brief second. I thought, wait a minute, soda cans are aluminum. That shouldn't work. Unless they use something else for their cans, which would be kind of weird.
Well, it's not impossible.
No.
But yeah, the food fight was great. It was so random and like completely out of nowhere.
Yeah.
It was like they didn't have like a legitimate story excuse for a fight, but they wanted to have one anyway.
Yeah, I agree. I would say that I think you could kind of see the I like to say the animation what is it shortcuts that they had to do with the weapons that they had because they just happened to pretty much fit the style of the character. So
Yeah, I noticed that too. There's also a brief animation glitch where at one point Yang actually punches the Ren through the floor. You can see him clipping through.
Well, maybe she's just that strong.
And I guess the people that went with that just said she punched him so hard he clipped through.
I can buy that.
It had some little quibbles here, but I guess that it's going so fast you probably wouldn't notice it unless you saw it enough times. I caught it like on my fourth watch or something.
Yeah.
Considering the punches Yang dishes out later on, I can buy that.
My God, that was something else. Also, I guess they're also going for a little bit of a darker tone in this one too, since in the not just in the opening song, but I mean in the opening scene, it basically involves a character death.
Wait,
That one Faunus guy, they go to the bookstore, and
Oh
Mercury.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Because later on, as kind of a joke, they're like, "We took care of that Faunus guy for you. What was he like? Some kind of cat? Yeah, like a puma." So like I remember some blue jokes. It was kind of dark humor there.
Yeah, it
Uh,
was.
let's see. Episode 4 is probably where like I think that's probably where I was the most surprised with what they because like most of the trailer was pretty much in there really. So they have like the what was it? They had Blake and Sun going to investigate the White Fang stuff. They had well episode 4 they had Weiss checking out the Schnee company I guess, and then they had Neptune. Oh yeah, Neptune and Yang going back to visit Junior. For anyone who saw the Yang trailer, I'm sure they were just laughing their asses off while watching that whole scene.
See, when you said that she went to like when I knew she
Nightclub.
was going to a nightclub, but I didn't think she was going to the same nightclub.
No, in episode 3,
That was kind of funny.
as soon as she mentions, I'm gonna go meet someone who deals in shitty stuff, I knew exactly who it was. So like, oh boy, we're gonna go do that again. So everyone just pointed a gun at her, like, saying, "Don't you dare do this again." We're just so cautious about it. So that was great. And then, yeah, so and then apparently they, I guess the White Fang stole a bunch of the new Paladin robots from the Ironwood. So I'm kind of curious to see how they pulled that off, since apparently they somehow managed to steal these guys off the assembly line. So either something fishy is going on between and under Atlas, or something else is happening. So I'm curious to see where where that goes. And
Yeah.
the whole fight scene from there on was just wow. That was complete. That was just freaking amazing.
Something that big shouldn't be able to move that fast, though.
Yeah, that was kind of bizarre, but so when you saw Neptune's weapon in the trailer, you're thinking, okay, it's just a gun. Then it turns into a freaking halberd and then a trident.
Yeah, I missed the
I'm
trident
like,
part.
okay, like, let's see it. Okay, it's just a gun. Okay, I saw it. It's just an assault rifle. Wait, oh god, no, it's a glaive? What? It's a trident? Oh, come on. It's not fair.
That's about par for the course for Ruby.
Yeah. And Sun's semblance is apparently now completely based on Journey to the West, because now he can summon shadow clones of himself. So that was like,
God.
okay, yeah, that was just completely obvious now. And now,
Yeah.
of course, the actual fight happened, and I thought that was actually probably one of the best fight scenes, just because of the coordination for that one. Because Ruby's
Yeah,
calling out the
that was-
formations, and that was pretty freaking cool.
Yeah, the fact that they
And so
use
it
like
got to a
actual
certain-
like battle formations and
Oh yeah, that was like freezer
I think
burn,
the combo
check.
attacks were what I really liked. Like
That was like you can tell
Twice
they're like now they're
Ruby.
actually like oh yeah, they're actually a full team now. But then it got to a point where because for gifts I use Tumblr a lot, so I tend to kind of catch on other little stuff. And then it got to a point where I started to notice that a lot of the formation names happen to have some eerie similarities between shipping names. I got to going, oh god, I hope he's not actually doing what I think he's doing. And then it got to a point where like, oh boy, he probably is. Shit. Like seriously, no. Some of these names sound almost identical. Well, similar at least. Bumblebee especially. That one's actual shipping names. I thought that was kind of hilarious.
Oh god.
And then, oh yeah, so then they finally explain the Yang semblance, which basically is she gets beat up and then she can use that to fight even stronger, which makes sense. But we can also, I guess, we can throw in if you yank her hair, she gets auto pissed off. So that's probably not the best idea either. Yeah, and then from there on we got a brand new song called "Die," which is not all cheery. So, uh-oh. And which now is on the. I think that song is now available on what's called SoundCloud, because Jeff Williams posted it saying it's the rough version. So, Volume 2's soundtrack's gonna be pretty good now.
they're pretty good about their insert songs, I have to say.
I like they put the timing of it to a point where you know it's gonna be just full on awesomeness, I guess, because I knew it was gonna happen just based on what was going on. I'm like, okay, something's gonna happen, and then the song was gonna kick in. I was right. And then Torchwick just gets his ass kicked, gets on the mech, completely unfazed, as if like, God damn it, not. This is the first thing. I just got this thing cleaned.
Yeah,
And,
Roman's pretty cool.
Roman's, I think he's probably one of my favorite villains so far, is because he's so nonchalant about everything. It's like he's not mad about anything. He's just easily annoyed.
Yeah. Like, oh, this is a setback, but we'll deal with it.
Yeah, we got this. And then they introduce a brand new villain called Neo, who apparently can create a mirror effect.
Oh God.
Well,
So, like,
I mean, I don't even know. Do we even
I
know
still,
what that does? Really? Like in the real,
I know. It
the
just,
nature of her ability? Not
she just
really.
stands there. Next thing you know, Yang punches them and it shatters.
Yeah, it's like some sort of illusion
And
power.
then, of course, Weiss tries to lighten the mood with a really crappy pun.
You mean Weiss?
Yeah, she like,
Yeah.
she guess she really made her plans fall apart. That was bad, Weiss.
I liked Yang's better. Start every episode with a Yang.
I love that. I always start my semesters off with a Yang. God damn it, Yang! What the hell?
I
Oh
agree.
God. Oh God. Darn it. Darn it. I hate it when puns are good. Well, I like it when I make crappy puns, but I hate when other people make crappy puns. They're good, and then you wish that you would have thought about that.
Exactly. It's like, God damn, why did I think of that? It's perfect.
Yeah. Yeah.
So overall, we're only four episodes in, and this is what we have. So I'm actually really impressed so far because 4 episodes ago and last season we didn't have much of anything, honestly.
In terms of what?
Overall content, like I guess if you combined all the episodes that were two-parters in the first season, it kind of had as much content, but in this case, like they managed to get like lots of content out of the way. And going back on episode 2, because there's something I wasn't expecting, was because I kind of figured we'd see Emerald and Mercury kind of infiltrate Beacon. I was expecting Cinder to join in. Like how old is she? Like seriously, is she like just barely over 24 or something, or just like over 20? Because
Maybe she's an upperclassman.
could be. She looks.
An extra upperclassman.
She would have to
So
be.
what, seventh year senior?
Because she looks older than you'd suspect, and then you see her in there and they go, wait, why is she here? Huh, okay. So I'm guessing what will happen next is we'll have, because I remember in the trailer there's a part where, like, I guess Jean has to talk to Pyrrha for something during a dance, I guess. So, yeah, on that note, why the hell is Jean still trying to hit on Weiss?
Don't
Yeah,
know.
I
God
don't
damn
like
it,
that.
John! You have a Pyrrha. Leave her alone.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't really like that, to be honest. Because it's like, it. I mean, wasn't the whole point of that whole Carden story like getting
I know.
Pyra and John closer together?
It's like they just randomly have it happen again this season. You kind of go, I don't get why it's still happening.
Yeah, I don't know.
It figures itself out for the better.
Fortunately, it doesn't seem like it's gonna go anywhere.
No,
'Cause since Weiss seems more interested in Neptune, but
I don't think so. I mean, I think
we're
Neptune's
more
kind
interested in him than John, at least.
yeah, and Neptune just hits on anyone because he hit on the two girls at the nightclub, Milsha and Melanie, and then he kind of, I guess, has a thing for Yang temporarily. So I don't think-
I'm assuming he's just a major flirt. I'm just
pretty
saying
much.
that.
Yeah, that's probably right.
So I'm not worried about him at all.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then, of course, Penny being a robot, which everyone saw coming.
Yeah, it's more likely they just confirmed it. In fact, I wouldn't even say that they confirmed it to us. Like everyone knew it. It was just because the only people who didn't know were the characters in the show.
Pretty much. Because, I'm sorry, but when, like, the character looks like that, has, like, what appears to be, like, circuitry kind of looking things on her legs and has that look, and her mannerisms and her speech and all that, it's a goddamn get that giveaway. I'm sorry, it is. And then she
Yeah.
then she opens her back, and we have these giant swords connected to cables. Yeah. Okay. Where is she?
That's great.
She just dumps Ruby in a garbage can. What the hell? Okay. And another thing I thought was hilarious, but that poor Dust guy. In the first season, he gets his shop robbed. In the second season, Emerald robs him, and then later on, Penny stops his truck, and then finally, he's operating a noodle stand at the end of episode 4.
Oh yeah, I was like,
Poor
when I saw him,
guy.
I was like, what is he doing there?
He just gave up on selling dust. He's like, no, screw this. This is too hazardous for me.
Yeah. I thought one kind of minor but scene that I liked a lot was when Weiss suggests that she go with Neptune, and Ruby's reaction is so good. She's just like, Psh, let's just go, and she drags Weiss along. It was like in the first season when Weiss does the same to her.
I remember someone pointed that out. I'm like, oh god, I can't believe I didn't notice that.
Yeah, it was
Came
great.
back. So
But
now,
yeah,
yeah. So now we have the whole tournament to look forward to.
yeah, that should be the highlight.
Yep.
Assumably.
Yes. Well, I know for a fact that we're gonna have Pyrrha versus Mercury at some point, because that was, I believe I saw a brief clip of it or some gifs that showcased it, so it was shown. So we do know we have this happening.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, there's going to be some interactions between Ruby and Emerald for a brief period of time, which I'm going to be very anxious to see how that turns out because she's the enemy and they don't know, which kind of worries me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I swear Ruby does sort of recognize Cinder, like, minorly, but I don't know if she does.
I mean, that's right. This isn't her first time meeting Cinder, huh?
Well, she kind of briefly saw her, like, silhouette and powers, but didn't really actually see her. So, yeah, you can tell she's kind of like, do I know you or not type look.
Yeah, that was a really long time ago, though, and she never really got a good look at her.
Yeah, so here's see what happens at that point. And kind of an interesting aside, but when they, I think this is episode 2, it happens, is when Ozpin's talking to Blake. I thought that was a fantastic showcasing of just like how like she wants to be perceived, I guess. And it really shows the character, she really shows her character more profoundly, and also shows kind of how Ozpin is really trying to be open to like everyone, not just be like certain people. Like he'll let anyone join his academy, which is a good thing on one hand, but on the other hand, it also allowed the major villains to join in. So I'm a little, it's kind of interesting to see how that's going to turn out.
Well, when he said he was going to let anyone join, I don't think he meant them.
No,
think
I
they
know,
just
but
snuck in.
he doesn't even knows that they're villains yet. So that's kind of why I'm going, oh boy, I wonder if he's going to regret saying that.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and then we have the whole introduction to Atlas, the whole military group. I'm kind of annoyed that they're military, not science. I'm like, oh god, not military again.
Yeah.
And a brief mention of the character Crow, who seems to be a very big player in all this. Because
Who?
even the military seems to acknowledge him in some way.
Who?
Crow, the person who trained Ruby, and he's briefly shown at the very end on I guess, a computer screen or something, like talking to Ozpin or something.
Huh. Was this at the end of 3?
Yeah, this is at the end of episode. This is at the end of volume 1, like right after the whole thing with Penny, and you see Ozpin looking on his like thing, watching the whole thing play out, and then he gets a message from Crow or something.
Huh. Okay.
So,
I forgot about him.
I'm very interested to see who he is, because I have a feeling he'll be like one of the strongest characters in the whole thing.
Well, we'll have to see.
Yeah.
But yeah, overall, I'm enjoying it.
Oh yeah, it's improvement over season 1, that's for sure. There's still things they can add to it, there's still things they can show off, but I'm just gonna let them do their thing. They've already put a lot of work into this. I'm really anxious to see what happens now, so
Yeah.
I'm still not sure if the outfits are permanent though. That's something I'm a little hazy on. is the outfits, if they're permanent or not, or if they're just temporary things for now.
Oh, the new outfits.
I don't know. I feel like they'll probably be permanent, only because it means that they don't have to waste time on changing out outfits for character models. So it's like we'll just run with these character models until probably next season, and then we'll swap out again.
Hmm.
Plus figures. Nah.
Yeah, it's like let's have new outfits for just because. Okay, sure.
Yeah.
Season 2 versions of these
Yep.
figures.
Yeah. You gotta switch them. You gotta switch them out so you can make more money off of the eventual concepts and stuff like that.
And
But
the new figures, I guess.
yeah, but that I think I'm being a bit cynical. I won't lie, that's being a bit cynical. But
Yeah.
we'll see. We'll see what happens. I'm
I
hoping.
think Monty's pretty good with his fans to the point where he goes out of his way to actually provide eBay links to outfits similar to what he's made for the costumes. So
Okay.
I
Yeah,
think we're fine on that regard.
that's good. That's good.
It's always nice to know when the creator likes their fan base enough to help them out.
Yeah, agreed. Agreed. With that, I'll quickly go into Otakon.
Sure.
So last time I had went to Anime Expo, where I went to go see like the largest anime convention in the world. Well, in North America, there's a lot more that are a little bit bigger,
Is
but
it really the biggest?
the biggest in the U.S. Well, I would say U.S. and probably North America. That's what they were billing themselves as. They had like over, I think, 80,000. What they were saying is that probably 85,000 came in.
Oof.
Yeah, yeah,
lot.
yeah. So going to then Otakon, which had about roughly, I think, 35,000 was, interestingly enough, major change of pace. Major change of pace.
How so?
Um, I got there on Thursday after flying and having only 2 hours of sleep from, I would say, the night before. And I got my badges within 2 hours, but then somehow technical difficulties occurred at Otakon.
Oh, shit.
So yeah, it happened at Anime Expo too, but it was to a worse degree at Anime Expo than Otakon. What happened with Otakon was that they got a denial of service attack on them from the outside as they were doing some
Ow.
stuff. So like they were shut down. Like everything worked internally until they had a denial of service outside. And I thought about that. I was like, wow.
Why would they have that happen to them?
Yeah, I didn't either. I don't think even they were expecting it. Nor when I went to the con feedback, they were like, we normally have backups and stuff like that. We did everything we could. We found about that. We're gonna put redundancies next time. I'm like, there's no way if somebody's. I don't know if it was purposeful or not, but if it was purposeful, then no matter how much redundancies you could physically have, if somebody's going to do a denial of service attack on you, there's only so much you can do. Like, realistically, there's only so much you can do. Anyway, this year from the past years went a lot smoother. Infrastructure wise, they actually put lanes so that you could go through the convention center. Made sure to keep like they made sure to actually have a lot more organizational structuring. With that being said, the panels were pretty fun. Got to go see a lot of different panels. Went to like the Funimation panel. Went to go see the Ultima panel, which was interesting because I was waiting for the Funimation panel, and I decided that, okay, I'll go to the Ultima panel knowing the fact that I could go to the Funimation panel. And I actually enjoyed that panel. It was really fun. They were really interesting. Their music is... I didn't realize that they made a good deal amount of OPs. They made like OPs for Shakugan no Shana. I think the second season, the OVA.
Oh, so they're an animation studio then.
What?
Ultima, they're an animation studio?
No, they're a music group, and they did the songs. They did.
They did the opening songs then.
Yeah, I think so. I think they did the opening for them, and they also did a lot more. So, with that being said, that was pretty fun. What else? I went to one panel that was a Kickstarter. I forget what it was exactly, but hold on. But before I talk about that, what was it? Um, Panel. Um, there was a good okay. There was a good amount of other content too. So one thing I went to was the Yokishi concert, which was the Sunday concert for the for Otakon. So Yokishi is the drummer for X Japan, which has been known for the people that started the whole Visual Kei movement for rock and stuff like that and heavy metal in Japan. And I have to say, it was a great concert. A little bit less songs than I would have liked, but he is a really good composer, and he played the piano well. It was also cool seeing a couple of his other bandmates from X Japan show up there to support him. But he did a great concert. I was very happy to go and see that. There was also a Toonami panel, and I thought it was going to be a good panel until I found out that so the guy what talked about stuff like that really didn't go that much into depth about Toonami in general. Yeah, like it seemed like he was more about like I'm gonna say all these things and they're gonna clap for me, and that's kind of how it broke down to.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah. It was kind of a downer because I didn't think that it would get to that point. But yeah, it was okay. And then he's like, I'm gonna talk about like the 5 reasons why the 5 shows that I want on Toonami. And then he pretty much put a whole bunch of what is it? A whole bunch of fan service stuff on there. And then yeah, it's like, oh, High School DD. That could be on Toonami because of
No, that's not. That's almost. Why
no.
Wait, he's still on Toonami?
Yeah. Okay, this was his reason. He's like, oh, High School DD because of Black Lagoon, or this other TV show because of Black Lagoon. I'm like,
Why?
You, yeah. I was like, you do not understand why Black Lagoon got on there if you're trying to use as a reasoning.
Oh my god.
It was. It was depressing.
Completely different genres altogether.
Yeah. It was. I think that was the one thing that annoyed me because I was like, no, you obviously did not understand why things were the way they were. But I ended up saying my own stuff too and other things like that. But yeah, it wasn't. It was okay. I went to the Anime News Network panel. That was fun. I won some stuff for asking a question and stuff like that. I think it was a Blood Lad manga, the 5th one from Yen Press. So, got that. And the Kickstarter panel that I went to was Project Phoenix. It was a Kickstarter game for it. There was also
Isn't that one by the guys who made Final Fantasy?
I don't know. I think so, or at least they know the people from there. Yeah, so they were giving an update. I couldn't get to the other one because that one locked out, and that was kind of depressing. But I got locked out of that one. But went to Anaplex's panel. That was pretty cool. I won I didn't win something. So a funny story that happened at the convention was that there was this one guy that won a figurine from Orimo, the Kuroneko's figure, except it's like in a white bathing suit, school uniform. And he was and he won it, and he didn't want it, so he sold it to me for like $10. I was very skeptical about it, but I was like, okay, sure, I'll buy it off him for $10. Then I checked later on the retail value, and it was $100. So I was like, okay, well then.
Wow, so you got a $100 figure for $10.
Yeah. I was like, this guy's gonna be so salty when he looks up on the eBay about that. But Besides that,
I'm very far from him.
yeah, I went to Viz's panel, got a whole bunch of manga because only some people came in, not a lot of people. And then I also went to Crunchyroll's panel too. Like, it was great because I got to see a lot of different friends. I did a whole bunch of things this year at this convention that I got to do at other ones. I went to the rave this time and actually had fun. I also went to a couple of other different panels I never really went to. I think this year, this with conventions, instead of just doing the whole press convention stuff, I just went to go to as many panels as I can, and I had so much fun. There is one thing that I went to go. One panel that I really got to go to, even though it started really, really late, was the Dante Basco. So if you don't know who Dante Basco is, he is the voice actor of Zuko for
Right, that guy.
yes, for Avatar. Also, he played on the Boondocks. I asked for him, I asked him how was it, playing on the Boondocks, and he liked it. And I found out that the voice director for Avatar is actually the same voice director that does the Boondocks too. So that was
What? Seriously?
yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I thought that was awesome. I thought that, like, yeah, that's pretty awesome. Though I won't lie, like Dante Bosco, whenever he talks, girls literally just went crazy. Like,
Yeah.
like I know people that have fangirled over so many people before. Okay, never have I literally just saw people like. I'm telling you, if it weren't for the AC, people would have been fainting from the heat, man. Yeah, it was fun though. For the panel that I got, for the time I went to go to, the panel was great. Overall, sans technical difficulties, Otakon was fun. I enjoyed it, and I cannot wait to do it again next year. I'm so psyched. So, but yeah, it was pretty fun. Oh, and one more thing. Oh God, I before I jump off of that. So at the Aniplex panel, the Toonami panel, and a couple of the other panels, um, I I actually saw one Plight member, or one Polygon member, but also
Really?
the Plight. Yeah, Kaijun Bowser. So I gotta go. Yeah,
Oh, wow.
yeah. So I mean, he was down there at. We got to chill at a couple of panels and like talk a bit. So shout out to Kaijun Bowser if he's listening to this. Shout out. Yeah, yeah. Um, and speaking of that shout out, also Daisuke, which they're kind of like the streaming version they're like a different streaming service than Crunchyroll, and it was interesting going to their panel because they successfully were able to dodge any questions while at the same time making us do activities. They did this one thing called My Bonnie, which was I think the song goes my Bonnie goes over the ocean, my Bonnie goes over, like something like that. Anyway, it was fun. It was okay, but you could definitely tell that they're gonna need a couple more times experience for them to get used to how to do things for panels. With that being said, the only thing I don't like about Daisuke is, but I just don't know what separates them from Crunchyroll. Because if you look at Crunchyroll as a streaming service, they pretty much have everything locked down. So I want to see how they're going to differ. Hopefully they can, and they differentiate themselves. I'll probably start going on the website now to check out stuff. But yeah, like I said, Otakon was fun. I enjoyed it, and I'm very, very glad I got to go. And especially to do the 2 con circuit was pretty awesome. So that's yeah, that's pretty cool. So
Okay.
yeah, so with that being said, what else? I guess the final thing that we have is Sailor Moon Crystal. Have you guys been watching that?
I'm just waiting for the dub for it, honestly.
Okay. What about you, Solo?
No, not yet. I meant to watch it yesterday, but it didn't happen.
No, I understand. I'll just say this: it's better paced than the original series because they're actually just cutting out all the fillers. I mean, I made the joke before that it's Sailor Moon Sisterhood, and it is still that.
That's what it is.
Yeah, it is pretty much what it is. I It's still been going well. I know Toei pretty much has been able to get away with murder when it comes to their animation stuff because, like, there are certain points where they animate things improperly, and everybody will notice it, and then of course they're gonna go back and redo it for the DVD. But like, you could definitely tell the animation mistakes they did, but it doesn't matter because it looks pretty cool, and because you're a Sailor Moon fan, you just want to watch it. So they get away with pretty much all of that. But
So,
go ahead.
how has the animation been? Have they kept it up, or has it dropped after the first episode?
Visually, it looks good. On the technical aspects, like the actual animation between frames, on model characters and stuff like that, sometimes it's hit and miss. Sometimes it could be a lot better, and other times it's like, okay, you're doing well. I think they really, really need to work on that.
So
But,
it's basically modern anime then.
Yeah, it is modern anime, and it's modern Toei too, which is disappointing. But yeah. I mean, we do it for everything, so it doesn't. How do I put it? It doesn't really affect me because at the end of the day, I'm just trying to watch the series. That's pretty much it. So, yeah. But I think that's really just about it. Unless you guys have anything else to talk about.
I'm just gonna briefly mention that, like, I guess in a couple of weeks from now. Actually, hold on. Let me see exactly how far that is. Yeah, so in a couple of weeks from now, or actually not this week, but next week, is an event in Canada called, our kind of expo called Fan Expo.
Yeah. Sorry to jump in, but I heard about that in the Plightcast, or not Plightcast, but the Plight forum. So, yeah. Is it just primarily like comics and everything else, or is it?
So Fan Expo is interesting because it's everything. So you have games, you have comics, you have anime, you have TV, you have movies. So anything that's actually part of the media um, is there, pretty much. So
Sounds
like
big.
everything is there, yeah. And they have a lot of guests this year. They have from like movies and certain games and certain animes, TV shows, all kinds of stuff. So a lot of neat guest stars are going to be there. A lot of neat events are going to be there. It's actually I've been to it once before. It's actually really neat because it's not one specific thing. There's something for everyone. So even if you're not seeing too much, you're seeing what you want to see, type thing.
Yeah.
That's what I think I like about it. So like if I'm not like too big on anime for one thing, I can see it for just like, the game stuff, which is what I'm probably either mostly for.
Yeah.
Or just take lots of pictures, which I probably will. Because I remember last year they had lots of neat little booths for various things. I'm not entirely sure if they'll have anything, what they'll have this year, but I'm mostly going to be taking just a lot of pictures of different cosplayers and whatnot, as well as everything that's there. I have my ticket for it already, so I'm actually kind of excited for this thing because apparently some guy is going to be there as well, so I'm going to see if I can find him at one point.
Okay.
So that's going to be a final experience, hopefully.
Okay.
And you mean, just to clarify, you mean some guy, the forum poster.
Yes, from Plate and the forum. So, yeah.
Some random guy's gonna be there.
He did say, I think he said he's going to be in either a Green Arrow cosplay or a Spider-Man one, and I don't remember which one he said, but I'll have to look out for that.
Yeah. I don't think I have anything else.
Okay. Well, with that being said, thank you both Cobaltios and Soloing for coming on. I know it's pretty much a rush job trying to get us to get together. Apologies. The next Plightcast have been set up, so we'll be getting people and we'll be getting more guests on here, including some return guests. So look out for that. And with that, thank you very much for listening to Plightcast. We will see you back in September. So with that being said, this is Kari Elson signing off.
I'm Solo.
And this is Cobaltios.
Have a great rest of the week and have a great rest of the August. See you guys later.
Yep. Bye.
Bye.